Joining me now is CBS News correspondent David Begnaud. He is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. David, can you tell us about Santiago's composure in court today?
Vlad, he was shaking as he sat in front of the judge. We noticed he seemed to be trembling. I thought maybe he was shaking his knee. But according to a producer who was sitting on the side of me who actually stood up, she said, no, he was shaking. His whole body seemed to shake the entire time. But I have to tell you, there's been so much made about his mental stability. In court, he appeared to know exactly what was going on. The judge from the get-go said, look, let me just read you your rights right out the gate, the Miranda rights, right? And so she did it, and he said, yes, ma'am, I understand. And every point along the way, she'd say one thing, do you understand? Yes. Do you understand? Yes. And this went on for a good 20 minutes. So he appeared very coherent. He understood what the judge was saying, and at the end of the hearing, basically what we got was she ordered him held without bond. The prosecution said he's a danger to the public and a flight risk, and he was appointed a public defender. There were a series of questions that she asked during the hearing to find out how much money he had. We learned during those questions that he worked for a security firm in Anchorage, Alaska, a place called Signal 88. Says he worked there for about 3 years, claims he made about $2,000 a month. He says he left that job in November. And as of today, Vlad, he told the judge he has about $5 to $10 in his bank account.
Wow. David, do we know at this time if Estaban Santiago will face a death penalty trial?
Yeah, most definitely. In fact, they've already said the maximum penalty he could face on the one murder charge that he's charged with would be death. There are a couple of other charges, but right now there's only one murder charge. You can bet that more will follow.
Wow. All right. The other question that I think is on a lot of people's mind, David, was this a failure from the FBI and law enforcement to not recognize the warning signs leading up to this shooting? Apparently, he had walked into an FBI office in Anchorage, Alaska. He told the folks there that he was under some kind of mind control from ISIS, not very clear. He was evaluated psychiatrically. So what are they saying about that?
So here's the play-by-play. He walks into the FBI office in Anchorage, Alaska last year, says the CIA is forcing me to watch ISIS videos and I'm having terroristic thoughts. The FBI says, we're going to call local police. They call in Anchorage authorities. Anchorage authorities take him to a local hospital, and he's submitted for a mental evaluation. At the time he showed up at the FBI office, he had a gun in his vehicle, but he walked into the office with a loaded magazine. Wasn't threatening. The FBI took the magazine, took the gun, gave it to the local police. Cops brought him to the hospital. He was sent for mental evaluation, got out within 3 to 4 days. Now, that's where it becomes unclear. What happened? Did they diagnose him with some type of mental disorder at the time? We don't know. What we do know, according to the FBI, is that about a month later, on or about December 7th or 8th, he petitioned to get the gun and the ammunition back. They gave it back to him. And according to our law enforcement sources, that gun is the same gun used to commit the mass shooting at the airport. Now, how does the blame game go around? Look, there are a lot of people asking questions like, why wasn't this guy on a no-fly list? Why did he get his gun back? The FBI in Anchorage essentially said at a news conference on Saturday, we couldn't keep it. The guy had a right to his weapon. He got out of the hospital, and we just couldn't hold the gun. We had to give it back to him. His mother and brother, speaking in Puerto Rico over the weekend, blamed the U.S. government, saying, why didn't they help him more, and why did they give the gun back to him? According to the family, Vlad, they say he had been hearing voices for quite some time. They paint a picture of a guy who was mentally unstable from the get-go and had a lot of serious issues. Last year, we know that in January, he was arrested for criminal mischief. In March of last year, he was accused of domestic violence but never charged. It is worth pointing out, had he been arrested and then convicted on that domestic violence charge, he may have lost his weapon. But that never happened. His gun was never taken away. So, who's to blame? It's anybody's guess at this point, but a lot of people are asking that question.
All right, David Begnaud reporting for us. Thank you, David. We appreciate it as always.
You bet.